John, you're unmuted if you'd like to test your camera, and we'll begin the recording as soon as we check your sound and everything. There you are. G'day.
Just come out of another chat, mate. Yeah, so
not a problem. You're great, John. If you'll just stand by, we'll get Wanda to start the recording. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All good.
Beautiful day to you all. My name is Laura. Welcome to the Ricardo Bosi Resources page. I'm very happy to welcome our favorite pirate, the national spokesman for the National Australia Strike, John Wilson. John, how are you? Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Laura, and thank you again for the invite. Always a great audience, you guys over at Rick Bosi Resources.
Well, I know your time is limited, John, so I'm going to get right into it. I know that you have many messages regarding the strike action, but I'm going to raise an issue with you first, if you don't mind, John. I've been inundated with questions and comments regarding an episode. That's a quote, the episode of Stop the Rot, Sack the Lot that is being advertised to air on June 20th. As the national spokesman for the National Strike Australia, you have explicitly stated that you have, and I quote, no direct dog in this fight. However, you've also decades of working within deep state systems. You understand how operatives are managed and how PSYOPs are devised and implemented. I'm wondering if you would please offer our audience any observations and insights regarding the current state of the freedom movement in Australia, particularly and specifically these continued attacks on Ricardo, Rhiannon Bosi, and Australia One. Thank you, John.
Well, that's a big question. Look, from the outset, I am an outsider looking in. Okay, I'm an outsider looking in. My relationship with the Australia One people and Mr. and Mrs. Bosi personally has been now for a number of years. It's got to be 7 or more years, okay, that I've been collaborating with Mr. and Mrs. Bosi, okay? So my relationship has been professional. It's been at arm's length. And the reason for that, Laura, despite the fact that, you know, I have greatly admired both Mr. and Mrs. Bosi's work ethic, right, I felt that they did not deserve my baggage, my old communist baggage. And that's why I did not want to add to their burden. And that's why I've kept everything at arm's length and they in return. Okay. So I am an outsider looking in. Now, most of what I've got to say about what's happening with all of this stuff that's unfolding, I've already said it. I've put it up on YouTube months ago, and I said, you watch this happen. There's going to be this by these people doing this for these reasons. Now, I've said all of this, right? And months later, exactly, it's unfolded, right? So I am not surprised. I'm not surprised. I just make a couple of comments, right? That the people who are pointing fingers at me, at Bosi, and you, and all of those others as being insane, right? Okay, we are all mad for saying, researching, talking about all the stuff that we do, okay? Now, if you read the protocols of the Elders of Zion, and it says, those who catch on to us, who join the dots, are going to be thought about as being insane. So I make the point again to everyone here, the people who are saying this stuff about Bosi, particularly Craig Kelly, and particularly, you know, Gina Reinhardt and you know, all of that crowd, right? What they are demonstrating is that they are spear chuckers. They are spear chuckers, Zionists. They are deploying a Zionist tactic straight out of their manual on Rick Bosi and then subsequently on all of us. This is a systems play. This is not random. This is not something that has not been thought through. Old communists who think in systems can pick this stuff in a flash. Craig Kelly, if he's not a Zionist, if he's not a fully paid up member of the Zionist Federation of Australia, he is certainly deploying their tactics. Okay, so I say that. Now, so I'm not surprised. But what has surprised me, because I thought any attack on Rick would be, you know, really about his research, about, you know, his history, where he come from. They would make things up, whatever. That's what I thought. Now, okay, there's been a little bit of that, but I've got to tell you, what has really shocked me was the nature of the attacks that ended up arriving, which was about Rick's children, Rick's wife, Rick's personal family affairs, having photographs of your bunk, you know, your stuff like that being published, and things of that nature. Now that really surprised me. I didn't think that these, that these Zionists and these Freemasons and these Fabians right out there, I didn't think that they would go to that level. And that's the first thing. And I also did not think that some of the people involved here would assist in that. And I'm speaking particularly to David Guru and to Mel. I did not think that they would participate in that level of betrayal. You know, that was a surprise to me. Now, I don't want to get involved personally. I don't have a direct dog in this fight, and I made that clear. I have written to nearly 9,000 national strikers with exactly that word, right? Those words. Now, as an outsider looking in, Rick Bosi, and I say this then, and I say it now. Rick Bosi has seconded this motion. He was not my first choice. Darren Bergworth from my place. I asked Darren to second this motion, and he would not do it. He refused. Now, Rick Bosi seconded this motion, and A1, all of them have got him behind it, this national strike, and I welcome it. I warmly welcome his seconding this motion, and I warmly welcome the support from all the Australian One people, in the same way that I welcome the support from all of the Uniting White people. In the same way, I welcome all of the support that I'm getting from common law people. In the same way, I'm getting support from significant sections of the Aboriginal people. Artie Glinda and I are going to be doing an interview next Monday, and she's going to be coming out speaking in support of the strike. So, you know, this strike, there's no reason why you can't support it. It's cross-factional. It's not politically captured by any group one way or the other. Okay, you have an old ex-communist who's the national spokesman. That's it. Okay. I'm stuck with you guys. I am. I need you to win the freedom back of this country and to stop all this shit happening to our children. And in return, you're stuck with me. You need me. All you people out there, I wish there was someone I could handball this to, but there's no one else out there. I've got 40 fucking years of doing nothing else but kicking governments and knocking them off their perch. Right? If there's anyone else out there that can one up that, I'll fucking give it all to them. you know. So that's Commo John. We're stuck with each other, folks, right? But what we are not stuck with, what we don't have to carry with us, and what we don't have to listen to and be part of, is all of this very, very nasty, dishonourable, smearing that's going on, by these people. We don't have to be part of that. That's beneath us. It is beneath us. I've got to tell you, Laura, I am really angry. I am a bad Christian, right? I'm only been a Christian for 2.5 years, and I'm 64. And that's since the floods, when God and sent down a couple of his mobsters and saved my rotten ass on that river, okay? Now, as bad as what I am at least, I don't know any scripture, nothing. And I'm not going to read it. I'm too busy being an old ex-com, right? So, but I do know what the 10 Commandments are. I know those things. And my message to those people who are involved in smearing Mr. and Mrs. Bosi and their children, my message to them is this, right? If you in any way, shape or form claim that you're a fucking Christian, and don't come to me, mate, because I can pick fake Christians a mile away. Us communists used to train people to go and infiltrate all of the churches, right? So I know fucking fake Christians. But if you claim you're a Christian, right, then my advice to you, mate, is go and read the 10 Commandments where it says, thou shalt not bear false witness. You know what I mean? Thou shalt not bear false witness against his brother. And I'm telling you now, a lot of the allegations being made against Mr. and Mrs. Bosi and their children is false witness statements and testimony. And I reject it. I've known that family now for about 8 years, 7 or 8 years. And in all of my time, all of my experience, right, nothing matches what is being alleged to my personal experience, right? And some of the people involved here, I mean, I personally know statements made to me by Carl Leibold to me when we drove down to different locations down to Coffs Harbour, the Coffs Harbour Freedom. People down there, I went down there with Carl and he filmed it, right? Carl hates Rick. He hates Rhiannon. He has a huge personal axe to grind against them. I mean, and so for Carl to then come out and claim any sort of impartiality or non-compromise, right? I mean, it doesn't pass the pub test with Commo John, because I've heard from his own lips how he feels, right? He feels very, and I don't know whether he's got a reason to feel this or not, right? Okay, I don't have a dog in that fight either. That's between him and the Bosis. But I know how bitter Carl is about both of them and how much he wanted to pay back. Now, the motivations behind all of this stuff are cheap. It's all driven by personal vendetta, jealousy, and other things. And now they're bearing false witness against him. Look, all I will say is this, and this is my message to Dave Guru and to you, Laura. Look, I truly hope that the betrayal that Dave Guru has shown towards the Bosis is drug induced. I hope that he's got a drug problem and somewhere he's fucked up and he's not in his right mind and he's betrayed Rick after all of the work that Rick's gone in to build him up. Because if it's a drug issue there, I can forgive Dave for that. I mean it. If he's got a drug problem and he's doing stuff and getting himself involved in stuff, I can forgive him. But if this is an act of betrayal that really has been well thought through, etc., then I can't forgive that. That's bearing false witness. That is against God's instructions, and as a Christian, I'm obligated to oppose it. And and Chris and as Rick is a Christian brother, I don't think anyone is going to argue about that. You know, that he's not a man of faith, and that you know, the Bosi family are not a family of faith, right? So as a Christian brother, I have an obligation, right, to not look the other way, right, to ensure that my Christian brothers are not unfairly attacked, right? That's my obligation. I have no second thoughts in that, right? Now, if I'm wrong in that, right, then all you Christians tell me why I'm wrong. Why, right? So, you know, there's a lot of really unnecessary things unfolding out of all of this stuff. It's going nowhere. There's another program being programmed to try and beat it up one more time and try and make something out of it. This is sad, man. It's sad. All the while this rot is going on, myself, all of the team that I work with are volunteers who are working their fucking guts out, along with Mr. and Mrs. Bosi, are doing everything we can to get rid of this belligerent occupation. Now, everyone out there, you work out where you're going to put your energy. Are you going to put your energy behind this nonsense, or are you going to put your focus and energy on the job at hand? It's a pretty clear-cut question to me, Laura. I'm saddened by it all. I say publicly again that I am proud and to have Rick as the seconder of this motion, and I welcome his support along with a whole bunch of other people out there, and some of them don't necessarily get along with Rick, and Rick doesn't necessarily get along with them. And but they are all behind the strike. That's the point. Okay, so that's it. Thank you, Laura. That's the only thing I'll say. I'm not gonna. I'll try not to, and I don't want to say anything more on this matter. Okay.
I appreciate that, John. Thank you for addressing that. So let's move on to the national strike. If you could please share the recent feedback. I know that you had a visit to Noosa, and you've been encountering people wherever you go. Would you care to share anything noteworthy with us from your recent meetings? Thank you, John.
Yes, lots and lots of ground that I've covered since we've last spoken, Laura. Yes, I went down to New England, down to Tamworth, and done a weekend gathering down there, public speaking events down there, and unanimous support for the national strike, and very, very organic network of people down there, and I'm going to go back again. I then went down to Singleton, spoke, had lunch, and spoke to the publicans at the Kelly Hotel about the national strike, and they too were very supportive. Went on to Sydney. I met up with some Spanish activists and other common law and other activists in Sydney, and there was overwhelming support for the national strike. You know, I'm not out there sort of mobilizing huge waves of people. I'm out planting seeds. I'm out meeting people quietly, face to face, and I'm testing the temperature of the Australian landscape and those within it. And all things are positive. I've been back to Brisbane, up to Kingaroy, great gathering of people up in Queensland at Kingaroy, and the same thing, a unanimous decision, right, for the national strike. Noosa, the same, last Sunday, over 200 out in a open air gathering along the river, over 200. Some of them drove up to 4 hours to be there, and some of them well over an hour to be there. So over 200 people, a motion was put, unanimous, to support the national strike. So look, it really, really, all the metrics are saying go. Sign-ups, well over 8,500, growing every day, well over 8,500. But the real story is the statistics behind the scenes that's going on in the webpage visits and so on, that we can see only the executive can see. And there's been 120,000 plus visits to our web pages, right, in 30 days. And they are spending on average 18 minutes looking at our documents and our strike actions. Okay, so we know there's enormous interest out there. We know that, even though the voting, is steadily climbing. Okay, so I'm very happy with where we're at. But the real big thing right now that I want to announce to your audience, right, if they go to the National Strike Australia webpage, and if they go to the strike actions and they go down to strike action number 4 down there, right, it's got Connect Up. There is a new application, and we've got it on our webpage, and it's called Connect Up. Okay, now that Connect Up, if you register there, you can connect up. It will connect you up with other people, right, within your locality and who are part of your your sort of district. Okay, so please, everybody, go and explore under strike actions number 4, and Connect Up. Please go and register and get on there. There's only a dozen registrations there now, so you're not going to get anyone connecting up with you right now, because there's me and a dozen other people on it, right? But when we get a couple of thousand on it, you're going to find people are going to be able to connect up and communicate with each other and form a real union. Okay, so that's the big announcement for today. I want all your folks there. Please get our pamphlets, promo pamphlets, and get them out and put them in comment sections. Send them out. Look, what's the choke point is the gatekeepers. That's the choke point, Laura. And the only way I can overcome the gatekeeper is with raw energy. I want your audience to give me their energy. Come and take our stuff, and you guys get it out to all the groups and promo it and drop it and seed it and talk about it if you can, please. Okay, big help. Look, internally within the NSA team, the strike team, right, it's grown. It's really grown, mate. We're up over a dozen people now. These are all volunteers, Laura, all volunteers, right? And we have attracted some really valuable people who with great skill sets. Our in-house art team are fantastic. Chan and Danny are just fantastic. They are doing all of the posters, all of the national strike, public meeting stuff, you name it. So we have got a great team of people in there, and they are all working and producing fantastic results, but all under heavy going. Like these volunteers, some of them are doing it at great personal sacrifice, mate. It's really difficult for them to keep up and fulfill their commitments that they've given, right, because of the personal circumstances that they're in. Like I'm talking life, and yet they continue to give me and the team their everything they've got, and I can't thank these people enough. I mean, I can't believe how brave and how tough and how disciplined all of the NSA team are, mate. They're a great team, and it's my honour to work with them, not over them, but with them. Okay, so NSA stuff, all good. Strike actions on the ground, Laura, are really making impact. The local government associations are now recalibrating, getting their shit together, trying to bat it off and all the rest of it. And we are laying siege. We are laying siege to them, right? But public awareness every day, in media and in many other reports, and that the complaints about corruption, about double dealing, about what they're doing to residents, how they are auctioning off properties, stealing property for unpaid rates, auctioning it off. All this stuff is all becoming public, and they are really, really on the nose out in the general community. So strike actions are going well, are having the desired impact, and they are growing. Okay, so that's it for the NSA strike. Thank you, Laura. I hope that advises everyone.
That's fantastic, John. Thank you. And thank you for explaining the disparity between the numbers of folks who have actually signed on and the folks who have visited. 18 minutes average, that's impressive. They're really checking things out. I appreciate that. Can you speak specifically on the strike actions? Which ones are garnering the greatest, I guess, reaction from the councils? Is it fluoride? Is it what's really impacting, do you feel, John, based on what you've heard as well as what you've seen in the back of the program?
Look, it's the onus of proof. The onus of proof. Again, we are not saying don't pay rates, don't pay rates. That's not what we are saying. We are saying prove that you have the lawful right to issue this invoice to me as a ratepayer. Okay, that's what we are saying. And onus of proof. Okay, and that seems to be the real, like that's the trigger point, because when people grab that first one and serve that, and then they get the shit, they get the bullshit back, and they go, well, I asked these questions about this. I was really clear. I mean, and he writes back crap. And so that's the beginning of the journey, right? That's the beginning of the journey. And we are saying, and it's true. I mean, no one's going to lose their house. There's going to be no police raids for asking questions. That's what you have doing. You are asking questions. And yet some councils have reacted really badly by calling in debt collectors. And when they have, I mean, our national strikers obviously get very concerned about that. And I had one of those at Noosa. They sent in court case stuff, but when the debt collectors say, hang on, this is our NSA team and how they help, and with the striker, they go, hang on, I'm in dispute over here and we are negotiating. I don't have any contract with you as a debt collector. Fuck off. And so we are batting them away. You know what I mean? And keeping the focus, because the council wants the striker to deal with the debt collector, and we're saying, no, we're dealing with you, not him, you, and holding you to account. So, there's been some pretty bad reactions. All councils, I mean, they're different. They have different people. We know they are World Economic Forum trained, and we have United Nations contracts, World Health Organization contracts. We know all of this. And some of them react really knee-jerk. But that seems, the onus of proof seems to be the one that's got a lot of interest out there. We've got well over, I think, 128,000 page visits and 18 minutes on average. Some of them up to 40 minutes, looking over all of our material. I've paid a lot of money for this software, right? I've paid a lot of money, and the IT people at the back, because marketing and all that, I didn't realize it was such a big deal. But the analytics at the back end of this software program is really, really sensitive, and it can analyze all this stuff for you. And so that's what I've done. So I know what's going on, the volume. I know how long they're spending there and where they come from, what part of Australia, where they come from, where the big interests are. So we're trying to do the best we can. See, with all of that background knowledge of where people are and stuff like that, what we're trying to do is then put an app there and bring it all together. So come on, everyone out there, let's not all be shy of each other. Let's all connect up. Let's all try to get to know each other, and let's build a real grassroots organic, national strike. Okay.
Thanks, John. And if you haven't been aware that it came out in the mainstream media that Australia's water is poisonous, you can use their own information. That's in mainstream. If you're going to address whomever supplies your water regarding the fluoride, take that report and shove it under their noses. It would be something I would recommend. What would you say about that, John?
Look, the interesting thing about the poison water reports is that there have been at least a dozen freedom movement alt media influencers, big ones, who have posted information over all of their channels about this water problem. You get me? Okay. And on one hand, they do that. But on the other hand, they refuse to recognise, speak about, interview, nor support the National Strike Australia's push to clean this shit up. They won't do it. So they talk, they talk, they talk. It's fear porn, it's more fear porn and more fear porn. That's what they are pushing. Como John is out trying to fight for solutions and get shit fixed up. All they do is they want your donations and monies for them to keep scaring you, right? Everything you're saying about this tainted water is true, all of it, right? But what the fuck are we going to do about it? I mean, that's my question. What are we doing about it? What's our reaction to all of this? And the people with all the influence out there, they are their actions. I mean, again, I'm only a new Christian. I'm a bad one, right? Okay. You judge them by their fruit. And their fruit is, mate, they're going to do nothing. They want to do nothing. They just want to scare you with this information. Look, the difference is this, folks. We're in a spiritual war. We are in a spiritual war here, right? Now, our opponents, they feast on our fear. They feast on our fear. And what we are seeing here, folks, is that these satanic forces, these Fabians, these Zionists, these Freemasons, these Khazarian Jews, central bankers, child traffickers, this satanic cabal, right? They want to harvest all of Australia's fears. They want to harvest your defeatism. They want to harvest your hopelessness. They want to harvest all of your addictions to porn, to fucking alcohol, to drugs, to alcohol. They want to harvest all of that, right? And they want to rebuild the country with it, right? That's what they want. Now, Como John, he wants to harvest, right? I want to harvest out of all of you, but I want you to give it to me. I want to harvest your hopes, your dreams, and your aspirations for you, your family, and for your nation. That's what I want to harvest. And I want to use that energy to rebuild this country, because that energy is going to give us, it will manifest, and that will give us the greatest country on earth if you give that to me. That will give this, we will manifest this, folks, into the greatest country on earth. I kid you not. I mean, listen, to anyone out there that doesn't live in Australia is not Australian. I live in Queensland, Australia. I'm telling you, I love all of Australia. I love particularly up in the Northern Territory, the outback. I lived 3 years in Alice Springs out in the desert. I love it up there, but I'm born in Queensland. And I'm telling you now, mate, Queensland is the greatest place on the planet. I'm telling you. There's lovely places everywhere else, and I don't mean to insult anyone, but you haven't got nothing until you've been to where we are up here, mate. I mean, right now, while the rest of the country's shivering and fucking in rugs and all that, mate, I'm sitting up here in a pair of shorts and a fucking light t-shirt, and it's 22 degrees. I love this place, mate. I love Australia. We have a great future. We have a fantastic future, Laura. But in front of us, we have a it's thinning out every day. It's thinning out. But we have a thin line of a belligerent occupation, right, that we've got to get rid of. We've got to get them off. We've got to get this fucking monkey off our back. Now, we have another faction out there that make money. They profit off this occupation, right? They are your profiteers. The deep state start the wars. The deep state cause all of this fucking misery. And these people, they build factories to make boots and uniforms and, all this stuff to feed the war. You get me? And become wealthy. I'm using that just as an example, okay? It's a lot deeper, a lot more complex than that. There's money washing here. I mean, money laundering in the hundreds of billions of dollars, Laura. I mean, the unions and other billionaires here. The money laundering that's going on here is eye-watering, okay? We are being rinsed fucking clean, man, this nation, these thieves. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop. So, it sort of leads me on to this, Laura. Look, one of the things, and this is for all of your audience, and I'm just going to flag something with all of your audience, okay, if you can give me about 10 minutes. Look, to everyone that's out there, okay, arising out of this national strike, growing out of it, okay, I've had overwhelming sort of feedback from people and many other people like who I trust and who've got good judgment. Now, the feedback that I'm getting or have got is this, and I've been involved in shitloads of talks behind the scenes. I am being prevailed upon to launch a new national Australian trade union. Okay, that's what's being said to me and being prevailed upon to me. Now, I wasn't game to touch this until and unless I really sat down and wargamed it all out, right? Now, I've done that. I've done it. Now, after wargaming it all out, I'm now convinced that the launching of a new national Australian trade union, right, off the back of this national strike, all the work we've done there, can be done. It can be done. And because I've wargamed this through, I've now committed to quite a broad bunch of people, right, activists out there, that I am going to proceed to register a new national Australian trade union. And I have then proceeded to undertake all of the necessary actions behind the scenes to secure and to complete registration of a new national Australian trade union. It's not ready to launch yet, but to all your audience and to you, Laura, please keep your ears open for the launch of a union called the Freedom Union, okay? The Freedom Union, whose mantra is going to be this: the Freedom Union, making Australia great again. This is going to drive the leftards insane, okay? Now, this Freedom Union is going to be able to offer some great stuff to those members who wish to join. There's going to be a joining fee of $200 per year. That's going to be your union fees, okay? But we are going to be able to offer new union members some great stuff. And I can't go through all the details, but I can say this. We are going to be able to offer protections protections, lawful protections. And if trespasses are made against you as a union member, then we are also going to be offer prosecutions for damages. We're going to go after people. And if anyone trespasses against your lawful rights, then we have the firepower, and we'll have the firepower from the union to prosecute and go after remedy. Okay. Now, many other things on top of that, but other big one. Okay. We have also, and we'll be able to offer, right, banking, secure banking, right, that has been firewalled, right, against the invasive banking that's currently out there, where government and where banking and others can easily interfere with your banking and, in fact, close your banking down. The Canada long distance truckers and all that sort of stuff, and here in Australia. Well, we are going to, we've taken measures to firewall our banking and being able to offer that firewall banking to new union members. Okay. So many other things, Laura, but I just want to flag it with you. I'm not ready to announce fully a launch. We're not ready. It's going to take maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks to get all of these moving parts coordinated. And I'm working with a team of volunteers and who are furiously putting all this stuff together. And I'm having to discuss and negotiate with other very serious players out there, okay, who understand all of the common law stuff, all of the constitutionals, everything. So this is going to be I believe, a fantastic initiative that's going to go viral. And I plead with all of your audience out there, Laura, if you are going to if you have one more fight left in you, if you do, and I'm saying that you do, and if you don't, I'm going to light a fire under your ass, right? But if you have one more fight left in you, give it to Como John, give it to me, join this union and give that fight to me, because I will not waste it. I won't squander your last fight. I'll make every shot count, okay? So that's the announcement I'd like to make onto that, Laura, and I hope that's of interest to you and your audience. Please get this information out there. Let everyone know this is coming.
Thanks for that heads up, John. We will be looking forward to hearing more about this new union. If you don't mind, I have a question that's sort of aligned with that, talking about protections that the union could provide. This might even be a future strike action that you would be considering, John. I'm going to read this comment from a supporter. Can we see the real estate industry being held to account for what they are doing to the people with regards to renting? The prices are too high, and there seems to be a revolving door of terminating people just for the sake of making more money. I know that it's more complicated than that, but would you mind commenting on that, John? Thank you so much.
Okay, look, my old trade union lefty Como history pedigree, right? This is what it tells me. That depending on the district, depending on the area and the circumstances, right? Okay, it would be very, very easy to generate and engineer a very targeted, tough rental strike action. Okay, I'll be honest, that could be done. The stress that's out there. Look, I went to Sydney, right? I don't know, to all those people who don't live in a city. I went out to Sydney recently, where I interviewed with Chris Sky and stuff like that. And the friend that I just bunked in with overnight in a rental way out of Sydney, mate, was paying $1,100 per week in rent. Now, last weekend, I went to Noosa, and on the way to Noosa, about half an hour outside of Noosa, I pulled into a town called Umundi, and to get a cold drink and go and use the toilet. I walked past the real estate, and there, not Sydney, where rents have been traditionally very high, but they had a rental property on a couple of acres of land for $1,000 per week to rent, right? Now that's what I see. I've seen that with my own eye. I live on the river here near Brisbane City, just up the river from me at Musgrave Park, and also along the riverbank between there are hundreds of people who are homeless, who are living in these parks. North, when I went up to Kingaroy, a 4-hour drive northwest of where I am, right, I had to go up to a turnoff near Caboolture, north of Brisbane. Hundreds and hundreds, including families, right, all homeless, living in the bush where the turnoff is, and there's vacant land and stuff down there. Look, so I believe that there is a massive problem out there with housing and rental, right? I get that. And I also believe that it's ripe, depending on, your district, etc., to weaponize this and turn it into a national strike. However, the long-term fix to all of this is because this belligerent occupation does not intend to fix anything. It only wants, you see, what they are looking for is for society to break. They want us to break down. And these Fabians, these Zionists, these Freemasons, etc., then want to rebuild us in their image. Okay. So that they want to break us. They want to promote high rents. They know the damage they're doing. They know it. And I'm saying the real fix here is to get rid of the belligerent occupation. As soon as you do that, right, and you then have some sense of law and order in Australia. We have no law and order. None. I mean, it's just all contracts, all bullshit. It's not law. So we have no law and order in Australia, right? Okay. And so until we get that, and then we go around with our armed police, our armed regulators, we go around knocking on doors to these real estate agents and say, come here. We're going to hold you to account. That's when you fix things. Trump has said this. When you start jailing people, you get things fixed. If you're handing out fines and warnings, nothing ever happens. We must remove the belligerent occupation to really fix anything in this country, anything, because they have no intention. It's order out of chaos. They want chaos. The Freemasons want to reset, order out of chaos, sister, and they want chaos. They want us to flip out. And if we don't make this strike, and if we don't make this union successful, that's exactly what we're going to get. We're going to get fucking chaos here in Australia. We have to get our affairs in order so that we don't have chaos, but we've got organisation. And with organisation and discipline, we can actually achieve things. If we have chaos, mate, hand the country back to the Freemasons. Hand it back to them.
Thank you for that, John. I agree with you. I have a lot of questions here, but they're not really appropriate for you. I just want all of the viewers right now to know that your questions that are appropriate for the NSA team will be forwarded to the NSA team. If you would please go to the NSA chat page, You will find your answers there. I don't have anything else, John, that are, questions that are appropriate for you at this time. I know that your time is short. I'm going to invite you now just to share some final thoughts and exhortations, and we'll let you get along with your day, sweetie. Thank you so much, John.
Look, Laura, thank you for the invitation again and give me another one. I'll come back because I love chatting to you guys. Look, everyone out there, I say don't think like losers. Stop all that nonsense. Their world is collapsing. Their world. We can't move into the new Australia until we clean up the old Australia, okay? And there's a transition. We are transitioning from February 2020 pre-coronavirus, and we are transitioning into now in 2024. The new Australia is coming. It's emerging. Green shoots are emerging. Okay. Now, to make that transition successful, we have to leave the old Australia behind. We've got to leave it behind, okay, to build the new, because we are going to have a debt-free country. We're going to have a sovereign country. We're going to be able to take control of our own affairs, right? The belligerent occupation, it is going to fail. We are going to remove it, right? One way or another, their world is coming to an end, okay? Now, we have people in our country who have made lots of money. They're profiteers, they're opportunists, they're grifters, they're bullshit artists, right? These people, right, okay, they do not want to leave the old Australia behind because they've done very well out of this belligerent occupation. They want to bring it with us. They want to bring their secret societies. They want to bring their Zionist, political operatives. They want to bring the unions. They want to bring their Fabian shit with them. And we've got all the rest of it, whether they are Jesuits, whether they are Knights of Malta, I don't know. There's just too many of them out there. But they want to bring their shit, their old world Roman shit into our new Australia. That's what the fight is on about right now. And Como John is standing here and I'm saying, no, thou shalt not pass. Thou shalt not pass. No entry. No entry. And I want to publicly say this to everyone out there because right now I've already written, not I, but me and a couple of the other key players that work with me have completed the constitution of the new union, the Freedom Union, right? We've completed that. And I am now writing up the rules, right, of the union. So you've got the constitution and then you've got the rules of the union. And I want to address this one point of eligibility to join the Freedom Union. And I'll make this public statement to everyone, okay? Look, the rules are not finished. We're still working on them. But I have written up, the eligibility. Now, to be eligible to join the Freedom Union, one, it's anyone and all people who are born in this country. If you're born here, you're eligible, right? Or two, if you have made a decision to make Australia your new permanent home, okay? We're not going to go into any legal language bullshit, right? But if you've made your Australia your permanent home, then you also are eligible. Now, those people who are not eligible to join the Freedom Union, right, are one, Freemasons, not eligible. Zionists, not eligible. Fabians, not eligible. Communists, not eligible. Or anyone that's sworn an secret oath that is contrary to the aims and objectives of the Union and or the Australian Constitution. You are not eligible. We don't want you in our union, okay? So I want everyone out there to know that the Freedom Union is not going to be infiltrated. It's not going to tolerate any entry to secret societies, secret fucking handshakes, secret oaths, and anything else that is un-Australian, that's against the aims and objectives of our union and against or undermines the Australian Constitution. We're not copping it. We're not copping it. If that's you, then don't bother applying to the Freedom Union. We do not want you. Go and start your own union. Okay? That's it. Thank you very much, Laura. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, John. Thank you for clarifying all that about the union. Everyone, we will post all of John's relevant links on the wall again for you. Again, we will have a live chat at the conclusion of this interview. John Wilson, you're a treasure. Love you so much. Thank you for all that you do for your country. I'm very proud to call you my friend. Big love to you. Thanks so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We will release this audio and video very shortly. Thank you, John.
Thanks.
See you soon.
Thank you, John. Real quick, Laura, before we go to questions and stuff, and because I want to make sure this is on the recording.
Wanda, you're rubber banding. You're rubber banding
now.
Yes, go right ahead.
I just think since you're one of the people that have been attacked and you've kind of stayed quiet, I think you should go ahead and have a voice in this, Laura. And I would appreciate hearing from you.
All right, I will just say this. David Graham said that, made a public statement on X that I had been offered a position in Australia One and asked why I hadn't been offered the position years ago. And he wrote that it was because Australia One was scraping the bottom of the barrel, and that is why I had been offered a position. I have not been eligible to be offered a position in Australia One. I've only recently become a citizen of Australia. And so that wherever he gleaned that information, whoever gave him that information, that was false information. And I'm very happy to say publicly that just wasn't true. I wasn't even eligible. So Wanda, does that cover what you're asking me, sweetie?
Yes, ma'am. And thank you so much for clarifying that, Laura. You know, I've known you for many years, Laura, and I'm very, very sorry for what's happening to you and to the Bosies. And yeah, I send you all so much love. And thank you for that.
Thank you, Wanda. Love you, sweetie. Thank you for your service, both as a veteran and to the Bosies and Australia One and to me. I appreciate you. We hope that this has been a helpful broadcast for you all. Again, look for the links that we will soon post again on the Ricardo Bosi resources page. Again, we'll have an open chat here in just a few moments. Thank you again for joining us. My name is Laura, and I'm very happy to have been with you all today. Thank you.
Let's get rid of these piss-ass